think I found a theory that helps us understand why we're treating certain protests differently. So we've seen lots of think pieces about how the Parkland March for Our Lives, predominantly white and affluent protesters, are treated very differently than those protesters who are black or brown and who've been protesting for some years around police violence and other sorts of inequities. And we know that is, right? Like that's not a surprise to anyone. We're seeing how they're treated differently. But I was trying to get a sense of why, other than racism, that is. And I found a theory called bias mapping, behaviors from intergroup and affect stereotypes. Basically what it means is the way that we feel about our group is going to then tell us how we're going to behave towards them. It fits what's happening in the world right now perfectly. Tragically, but perfectly. What it says is that those groups that we feel more warmth towards and that we feel are more competent, we will facilitate and support. And those groups that we feel are not competent and that we feel cold towards, we will actively harm and dismiss. And that's basically what's occurring. And I want us to think about, how do we use this knowledge to do something different? The reality is that if we don't understand the pattern that we're stuck in, we can't disrupt it. So if we see that we've been told narratives about black protesters, that they're thugs, that they need to get a job, but we're told that white protesters are so brave to stand up, we need to be thinking about why, when people do the same thing, are they treated differently, and disrupt the negative narrative that is given to those that we don't traditionally feel as warm and competent towards. If we're honest with ourselves, we have a lot of warmth towards the Parkland protesters, the March for Our Lives kids. They're so competent, they're so brave. The Parkland kids were lauded as a perfect example and product of our public school system, these drama kids who were speaking out so eloquently. When they're kids who are black and brown and often from urban spaces, they don't get the coverage. We assume that they don't have demands or aren't covering their demands. We don't extend them the same assumption of competence. So with all that, I don't have the answer, but I do know that this theory explains our behavior. And the work is to figure out how to disrupt the lack of warmth and lack of competence that we see in protesters that don't look like the status quo, that aren't affluent and white? And how do we extend the same assumptions of competence to black and brown youth who are protesting for their land, for their cities? And to be clear, this doesn't take away from anything that the March for Our Lives young people are doing. It pushes us to listen to more young people who have something to say about the quality of their lives and about what they're fighting for so that we can all have a better tomorrow.